All right, so today's thing, what got me thinking, I was thinking about a story back when dinosaurs roamed the land and I was a service tech. All those years ago. I was thinking about my first service manager, and you got a great episode tomorrow, so I don't want to give too much away, but he was one of those people, like one of those quiet leaders in the industry. And I remember I'd just been running service for a little bit, and I go into his office in the morning, just like you do. And I was like, yeah. He's like, how you doing? I was like, I'm having a good week. I'm having a good week. He goes, and have you ever noticed great leaders ask good questions? You know, he's just like all Columbo about it. He's like, oh, why do you think that is? And I was like, oh, I don't know. And he's like, would you think the customers are better? I was like, no, I don't think so. You calls any better? I was like, no. It must be the weather. The weather's better. I'm like, nah, not really. He goes, wonder what it is. And in that conversation, he allowed me to discover that really it was me. I was showing up different. And it was that like aha moment. You talk about your aha moment. Like that was my aha moment that, you know, sometimes when we focus on the right things, magically, things go better, right?
Yeah, you're in charge.
I was. And it reminded me that we're going to talk about, you know, we're doing a little arts and crafts here. There was a guy that used to live a long time ago. His name was Epictetus. And he said, we have two jobs in life. One, to define things into two columns and then pick the right column. So what he did, and service managers, here's the thing for you. Go ahead and once we set this up, pause the video. Take a piece of paper and draw a line right down the middle. It's just real simple. It could be copy or paper, turn something over. And then on the top of it, just write things I can control. See how I did that? That was like a studio.
That was nice. It's better than my circle.
Yeah. Things I can control and things I can't. I felt really special. I pulled out, here's one I made earlier. And here's the deal. Like once you've got it, things I can control, things I can't control, that's simple. Pause this, let your team take 5 minutes and just see what they come up with. Now here's the deal. If you're back, I've seen them do
5 minutes later.
Yeah. If you're back, you know, if you've got more than 3, 4, 5 people in the room, you're going to see all kinds of things under things I can control. I've done this with about 100 business leaders at a conference, and these are well-educated, well-experienced people. And I've seen people put down sales. I can control sales. I can control the weather. And it's like, no. And I contrast that. I did this with my son. He was about 13 at the time. And I did this with my son. And I gave them the paper, and I was all dad about it. I was like, here, son. And I turn around and take 3 steps, and I don't even make it out of the room, and he's like, done. And I come back, and he says, and he has it, and he wrote, things I can control. He said, me, things I can't control, everything else. And he got it. He got what the ancient guys 2,500 years ago were talking about. The only thing you control are your thoughts, your deeds, and your actions. Now, that's kind of a good news, bad news situation, because if you understand that, everything's under your control. If you understand that, it means that you're driving the bus. And you got to take responsibility for life. But that's kind of adult 101, right? So, but like at 13, I was like, I did one of those dad things. I was like, well, that's, I actually accused him of getting it at school that day. I was like, well done. I turned around, I was like, holy cow, who is that kid? You know, every once in a while, the apple gets a lucky bounce, you know? Yeah, it's good, it's good. Anyway, that's kind of, and so we were talking about, what is it you were saying, like, regardless of what happens?
Well, you know, a lot of people talk about, like, it's not really the things that happen to you, it's the response that you have to those things, right? And so regardless of what happens, you should ask yourself, are my actions helping this situation?
Wow.
Like, that is a really good question to ask when you have a challenge.
You're dropping some knowledge today, buddy. That one's, regardless of what happens, are my actions, because I'm pretty sure at the back at the beginning of it, and that's one of the things champions realize, like whether dispatch gives you like the good call, whether the other cat gets the better customers, whether things are going well outside of work, someone cuts you off in traffic, man, there's just some people that just focus on the things they control. You know, you can't fight the universe, you know what I mean?
Unfortunately, sometimes we get caught up in the things that we can't control, and we carry that baggage with us all day long, and we carry it at home.
Yeah.
And we come home with that baggage, and we couldn't even control all that while we're at work, and so we certainly can't control it after we get home, but we bring it home with us.
We do, and it's funny. Covey talks about this. Stephen Covey, you know, I talk about him a lot. He's got these circles of stuff. He says all of our emotional energy should be in the middle. This should be on the things that we can control, which is really us, our thoughts, our actions, our deeds. Outside, there's these things that influence us, like maybe our boss, and we can give feedback, we can influence, and we should spend a little bit of emotional energy there. And then there's all the stuff that concerns us, the world, taxis, what's going on, the weather. But like at the end of the day, we should spend zero energy on it because we can't do anything about it. And here's the deal. I've just seen way too many people in the trades bust their hump, put in not just a physical day, but then they're getting angry because suppliers let them down, things show up damaged, and plans go out, and what happens is the family gets the emotional leftovers. And at the Toolshed, man, we don't want that.
No, we don't want that. And think about this, like whatever your biggest problem is today, think back 3 years ago to May the 17th, 2019. What was your biggest problem then? And you probably can't really think about what that problem was, but at the time it was huge, right? And today you can't even remember what it is. And so I read this thing one time, Eddie, that said when you have a challenge or you have a problem, you should ask yourself, is this a 5-minute problem? Is this a 5-hour problem? Or is this a 5-month problem? And what you're going to find out about most of your challenges and most of your problems is it falls in the 5-minute to 5-hour category. Whatever your biggest problem is that you run across today, tomorrow that problem's going to be solved.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, we really, like, it's so funny because I can worry as much as the next person, but what I realized from working with people, you know, we talk about this a lot, we're the product of just the incredible men and women that we've worked with all those years. They just focus on the right stuff.
I was pointing at you.
Oh.
Like I'm lucky to I work in the Toolshed with Eddie McFarlane every day. How cool is that, right?
It's
and you get to join us every day, which is super duper cool, right?
So here's what we're talking, like this whole principle. Remember we talked about you and you alone. You're in that little dinghy and you've got your hand on the rudder. When you focus on things outside your control, you're taking your hand off that rudder and you're just letting anybody drive.
Yeah.
And man, you made a promise to yourself, a promise to your family, a promise to your career that, you know, you were going to be in control. And so today, when you get new information, you have to process it and you have to decide, am I going to make a choice based on this action? And remember, not making a choice is really accepting the status quo. So we've talked about this today. You need to decide, are you going to continue to give your family the leftovers, or are you going to make a decision and do something different, right? And so today's takeaway is pretty simple. It's pretty simple. Today, we just want you to understand what you're thinking about. More importantly, what are you sort of worrying / obsessing, and what's that thought that you can't seem to let go? Because it's consuming your mental energy. And we just want you to be aware of that. And you need to decide who's in control today. Who's in control? Is it you? And if it's not you, who the heck is it? Man, if it's not you, because champions are in control. We've got summer coming. We've got, 8 episodes left. Getting down to the rubber. And we said we'd always share the truth with you, and it's just a hard truth. Champions focus on what they can control. We want you to be a champion. We want you to go out and crush it. Not for your company. Not even, just for yourself. Don't do it for us, man. Go out and be the best you can be today, and life will be good.